Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Ooh, welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 351. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
That is me. I'm Nate. I like your shirt today. What do we got? Was this a Hawaii purchase or?
Does it look like I'm going to a fish fry?
I could see it. If you had
believe
cargo
me,
shorts and New Balances on with like the mid-ankle socks, I would think that you are just fully mowing your backyard, steaks on the grill,
Grass stains on the white New Balances.
Yeah, it's time. I think it's time.
I asked that because I wasn't intentionally going for that. I was just asking more if it was a result of my apparel choice today.
Was this a purchase in Hawaii or pre-Hawaii purchase?
This was post-Hawaii, actually.
Not in Hawaii. You got back from Hawaii and you were like, I think I need to add this to the wardrobe now.
Well, Meredith got it for me. It was
all right.
It wasn't even my choosing, but I'm a big floral pattern guy. Like if you see me outside of like the Red Sox t-shirt game, like going to work or whatever, big into the floral patterns.
All right.
I'm not gonna pat myself on the back, but like I can rock them pretty well. Like this is
that a turtle?
No,
there's not turtles on there. What's
no
the little
turtles on here?
It's a little blue circle of one. Yeah, that one.
These things?
Yeah.
Looks like a little bluebell flower. I don't know. I'm not a real flower expert.
I'm gonna need you to put up if you can redecorate one of like your bathrooms in there and put the same pattern on the wall. I'm gonna need you to like stand back against it.
With this pattern.
Yeah. Same one.
I can do that.
I need you to go to Home Depot with the shirt on and be like, I need a 24
I need this wallpaper.
foot.
I need this wallpaper. This is day 2 of Kyle in a button-up short sleeve. This might be the move, at least for a little bit. You know, summer, the summer's on its way. It's getting a little warm around here. That might be the move a little bit. A little more professional Kyle on the pod.
Man, I'm wearing a quarter zip with no shirt underneath, so
and it
the
looks
exact
good.
Opposite.
It looks good.
Thanks.
I might just, you know what? With the whole floral thing, I might just roll out the lineup of floral shirts that I got over the next couple of weeks. I got a good number, man. And I'm sure I'll be adding to the collection. We'll see. I'll roll them out over the next few episodes. Which, speaking of which, if you want to see them, because I know you do.
Yeah, get on YouTube.
Get on YouTube. Not going to ask again. Well, I'm definitely going to ask again, but at least not today.
Might bring it up again.
Get on the YouTube. Smash the subscribe button.
Yeah.
And again, just another plug here, because I think last time I mentioned this, it was at the end of an episode. But if you're interested in any of the gear, anything we use, I've now started to add those links to our show descriptions, our YouTube. It's in the description on the YouTube videos. So if you're a nerd, or if you're maybe thinking about starting a podcast yourself, because I've had plenty of people over the years ask me about like, hey, I'm starting to get into the whole baseball media thing. Want to start a podcast? Do you have any advice? All the stuff we use is right there. I'll be more than glad to chat with you about it. But if you just want to get right to it, all of our product links are in the description.
I have no advice.
Hey.
If you ask me, I have no advice.
Well, if you
Find
just
you
need
a Kyle,
to learn,
that's what you need to do.
if you need, well, I appreciate that. If you need to, or if you want to learn how to be a charismatic guy that just brings the juice with the occasional old man take, reach out to Nate, because that is your guy.
There's Kyle's and there's Nate's of the world. That's it. You gotta find.
I don't think there's any in between.
You gotta figure out which one you are and go find the other one. And there's your podcast. Done.
That's the secret recipe. You're welcome. I didn't think we'd be sharing that secret today, but here we are. Let's before we get into what we got to talk about today, let's run through a voicemail. I
Love
will
it.
admit I meant to get this on last episodes. I don't think it's dated, or outdated, I should say. But this was given to us prior to last episode, but I think it's still good to play. So let's get into that real quick.
Hey fellas, AJ Torres, Danbury, Connecticut.
My God.
To start off, guys, just wanted to thank you two as well as everybody involved with the show because I shot my shot and I'm now writing sports articles for Simple Mind Sports. It's a Boston media outlet. As a Yankee fan, I'm biting my teeth a little bit, but I do what I do. So I just want to say thank you guys. So I do got a Yankee point and Red Sox point. My Yankee point, and Nate, this is going to be year 4 of possibly 9, depending on Garrett Cole, because there's an opt-out after this year. But for everybody in the Yankee universe who basically kind of wrote off Cole as, sticky stuff, he's no good, blah, blah, blah. Well, I can't believe it really took a complete game this year for everybody to put respect on the name, because that guy has been a leader. He's a clubhouse guy. I know he's a little bit weird, and I know he doesn't speak well, but you know what? The guy's a Yankee, and he's here for a reason. You want to talk to me about how bad he is if we're in like year 7, year 8? That's fine. But right now, he's been available, he's been dominant, and that's all you can ask for. Particularly those guys that have been flipping out over, I don't want to trash the Met fans too much. I've done that as it is. But if you look at DeGrom and now Verlander, well, Mets fans, you're crying in your beer. Shocking. My Red Sox take. So as I'm doing journalism for Boston now, I know it's weird doing it right now, but Kyle, if you take Trevor Story, do you like him as a shortstop or a second baseman when he comes back? Because free agency and the prospects available, yeah, not looking too great. And this lineup, day in and day out, is too lefty favored. I mean, after Verdugo and Ratzy's kind of a little bit cold, I mean, who else in there can you depend on? Hopefully after this year, Heimblum's fired. Let me know what you think. And everybody, stay good. Best of luck to your teams and Mets Sox. Later.
The guy. AJ's the man. I wish he would just leave a voicemail every week.
How about that, though? We're talking about, like, kind of doing your own thing, kind of shooting your shot, and sure enough, literally right out of the gate.
That's dope.
So
honestly, congrats
AJ.
on that. Like, it's, I think people, you know, it's hard to rock the boat and do something that's a little out of your comfort zone. So, like, props to him for pulling that trigger. And if we were any type of inspiration for that, then that's awesome. Do you want to start? You want me to start?
Yeah, I'll just touch on both things real quick. His thing on Garrett Cole, yes. Garrett Cole, like, a guy gets ragged on. I think from my point of view, jokes aside, I think from my point of view, and I've mentioned this before, I think a lot of the hate comes with the amount of hype that he gets. Not to say that it doesn't translate to numbers, but every year in and year out, is the preseason favorite to win the Cy Young, and it just never, for whatever reason, it just never pans out. And I think people get fed up with seeing his name thrown around in that conversation year in and year out, and it just never amounting to anything. I think he's off to a fantastic start. I think one of the points AJ made was an incredible point. I think it gets overlooked, but availability for Garrett Cole, for a guy to, regardless what he does, and for Garrett Cole's case has been, it's been good. But if you just show up in today's day and age, showing up is like more, the whole cliche is like half the battle. I feel like today in society, showing up now is more than half the battle. And the fact that he gives you that reliability, gives you that consistency, like he said, you can't ask for anything more than that. Regarding the Red Sox, real quick, who can you really count on in that lineup? Nobody. Alex Verdugo is having a great start to the year. We've already seen some of these things that Red Sox fans, the Red Sox world, were hoping would pan out. We've already seen, and I said it before the season even started, I've been saying it since March, that there's just too much that would have to go right for the Red Sox, and we've already seen certain things fall by the wayside. We've seen certain players underperforming who we needed to have great starts to the year. And again, I know it's early, but it is what it is, and I'm not surprised in the least as to how things have started. But those are my two takes.
I got to be honest. I have no problem with the Red Sox lineup. I mean, I understand the holes, right? There's holes for sure, but like, I mean, they're ninth in OPS so far, 11th in batting average,
right? But it's more of
fifth
it's
in
more
home
of-
runs.
We just got done talking about it though, like the consistency. Like,
Sure,
is Jaron Duran gonna maintain what he's been doing? Time will tell.
right?
But that's not a guy that you went into the season expecting to be in that position.
No, I get it. I think it's just the issue is like everyone knows pitching. Pitching is the issue for the Red Sox.
We'll get into that.
But overall, I think, I think you would agree Red Sox fans are pretty happy with this start. I think this is pretty much more than what you were expecting.
Happy is a strong word, but
You're not thrilled, but you are pleasantly surprised. How's that?
I'd even take it a notch lower than that. I'd say it could be worse.
All right. That's fair.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, and what you were saying about Garrett Cole, I think it yeah, like the leadership probably isn't talked about enough. I don't think he's one of those guys that is necessarily vocal. He's more vocal than like a DJ LeMahieu, but that's not kind of his thing. It's just, I have a really good talent and, hopefully you just follow my lead, but I'm going to lead by performance and by example. And like the best ability is availability. He's always showing up. He's always doing his thing. But we've seen this before. We've seen the Yankees, they were world beaters last year, right? They got off to like a Tampa Bay Rays start and, kind of hit a second half thing. So it's like, I'm just waiting to see if Garrett Cole can put it together for the whole season. But I do agree. I think he's doing what he's getting paid to do, especially when you look at other guys on the roster that, get big paychecks and are missing a lot of time. So yeah, props to that for sure. But I agree, Mets suck.
And last thing, I realized I didn't mention the thing about Trevor Story. I think, and I'll keep it real quick, I think the way Trevor Story's career has played out, his injury aside, of course, but in terms of positional preference,
He's got to be done at short, right?
That's what I'm saying. I think it played out at the right time. Like, I know there was a lot of uproar about moving him from short to second. Well, he's a shortstop. Well, again, if you look at the data, if you look at the arm strength, it's just not there. So I think in terms of timing, it played out as well as it's going to be. And if he does make a return, I think it has to be as a shortstop, as much as despite getting done saying what I just said, we just don't have anybody that can play short who's an actual shortstop, not some super utility guy that we're sticking in there for the time being. But yeah, I think it played out as well as it could have. In terms of playing out as well as it could have, do we think the Bryan Reynolds contract situation, what are our thoughts there? Because I, for one, did not see this coming. Despite the start that they've had, I do not understand both sides of it, honestly. Like I understand from Bryan Reynolds' point of view, I understand that you kind of have to play hardball a little bit. You kind of have to express your frustration with this or with that, with the team, with your with the way that you feel like you're being appreciated or underappreciated by the team based on your contract situation or what's been offered. I understand that that's just part of the negotiation. but he really, really did not seem like he was interested in playing here. And
I
from
agree.
the Pirates side of things, and I tweeted about it, I'm still baffled by this. They wanted a Soto-like haul for this. And I feel like I'm a broken record. That's what you were asking for, and you're paying him $106 million over 8 years.
Yeah.
That math doesn't add up.
Yeah.
So to be completely honest with you, I'm lost on both sides of the coin. I don't get it.
The Pirates had all the control from the beginning, right? Because he still had at least 2 years of control, maybe 3. So the thing is that like, yeah, is he Juan Soto talent? No. Is he even the top 5 center fielder? Probably not. But when you talk about 3 years left to control, switch hitting center fielder like that is productive, that probably will get an uptick in production in a better lineup, I understand asking for a lot and just setting that high. I don't know if the Pirates' success was a reason why he wanted to stick around, but like,
well, that was something I wanted to get your thoughts on. Yeah, you're off to a storybook start if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates. You bring McCutchen back. We mentioned it last episode. You've got Drew Maggi, who got his first big league at bat last night. There's no way that both teams or both parties, I should say, especially Bryan Reynolds, could be that short-sighted, right? Like there's no way that that's what it took for him to go, you know what? And you and I have both been big supporters of the Pirates and the small incremental improvements that they've made.
Yeah.
We've talked about it plenty. But there's no way that, given the current state of the team with where they're at, you can't tell me that this start is what led Bryan Reynolds to commit to the next 8 years. Right? Like that seems extremely short-sighted.
I think it does too. The other thing that I'm pretty curious about is that I saw there was a 6-team no trade clause. So there's only 6 teams on that list. Do you know those teams?
I don't. I didn't even know. I saw that it included some no trade protection, but I did not see the specifics of it being a 6-team scenario. That's
it was in a tweet. It was a breakdown of like the year by year salary and how obviously there's an uptick towards the end of the contract. But yeah, there was a 6-team no trade clause. And I think that's the other thing to possibly look at as well, is the fact that it's a pretty tradable contract.
My mind immediately went to that when I saw the text notification. I could hear your voice in my head going, that's a pretty tradable contract, because I'm like, 8 years, 106. That's definitely workable.
Yeah, and if he's an all-star over the next 2 years and Pirates' efforts fall short, you never know. But I'm looking at their contracts now, and outside of the vets, everyone's pretty much locked down. I think the O'Neal Cruz pre-arb extension is coming. The injury didn't help.
Yeah, certainly.
But I think that is coming, right? I mean,
but in a way, you could think of that as something that could help the Pirates, at least. Offering him that security, being like, hey, you haven't been up here very long,
right,
and you've already seen the effects of what this game can do to your body. Would you like to commit to this vision long term?
Yeah, so I think similar to
dollars.
I think similar to the Bryan Hayes. I mean, the 8 year 70, and Bryan Hayes is 26. O'Neal Cruz is 24. I would do 6 years. I would offer a 6-year 75 or something like that. 6 years 80 maybe. And then you can tell O'Neal Cruz, hey, at that point, you're hitting the market again at 30. We're probably not going to be able to afford you then anyway. You know what I mean? So that's a budget deal too.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good spot for O'Neill. You said 6 years, kind of. That'd be a good jumping off spot for him because I mean, you look at what Xander Bogaerts just brought in. Not to say that their careers are going to follow the same trajectory, or that O'Neill Cruz's career isn't going to follow the same trajectory. It could. You don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just saw what Xander Bogaerts was able to do at 30, 31. So not a bad situation to be in if you're the Pirates or O'Neill Cruz, if that's the route the route you choose to take. But yeah, this Bryan Reynolds thing. Look, I'm happy for the Pirates. The richest deal in franchise history, which still kind of blows my mind a little bit. But like for the longest time, it's just been like sign your people, stop being a farm system for the rest of baseball, sign your stars,
Right.
and something's clicking. I guess like it's amazing what a little bit of winning can do. It's amazing what a little bit of fan support can do when you start seeing people trickle into the stadium a little bit more than they had been in years past. And you go, there's something to this. Because I think if you're the Pirates or a team like the Pirates, you almost get stuck in this rut year after year of just being the laughing stock of baseball. And you're kind of just like, well, this is our reality. And you kind of forget those glory days. And for the Pirates, it was like the early 2010s, as recently as then. I mean, sure, we're not talking like Pirates of old in that situation, but where you could recall some recent success. And I think you kind of lose sight of that. I think it's only human to do that if you just keep doing the same things over and over. But I think they've been able to look at what this organization has been able to do in the first month or two of this season, and they go, how can we get more of that? And I wish more teams like the Pirates, those lower market teams that don't spend as much money, I wish they would take that approach. They'd be like, how we've gotten a taste of that. How can we get more of it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like, look, when you look at the reality is there's probably only maybe two other guys maybe two other guys, Jack Sawinski and O'Neill Cruz. That's maybe what I'm thinking about there. So if, say, they get an extension, I don't think it's going to be near, well, not for Sawinski anyway.
How old is Sawinski? Does it say?
24. Similar to O'Neill Cruz, less than a full year of experience. And you talk about like 13 year on the average, or 13 mil a year on the average for Bryan Reynolds, 8.5 for Brian Hayes. I think if you do a similar contract for O'Neill Cruz, maybe somewhere in between the two, so you're talking maybe 9 to 10 mil. So you're talking about potentially four guys that are going to cost you 40, 45 mil a year in payroll. Four guys that can be your cornerstones and they can stick around for a while.
Because the two that we know of right now are Reynolds and Hayes. And you said Hayes is what, 8
for
year?
70. And that's 8 and change, 8.7 a year. And then the
So
rest
we're
of the
looking
names,
at-
you're going to let go. You know what I'm saying? Like David Bednar, he's still in pre-arbitration. He's 28. By the time arbitration's done, he's done. You're not hanging on to him. Same thing for Mitch Keller, 27. He's got 3 years of experience, so you're not hanging on to him either. Vince Velasquez, same story. So like you have a lot of these veterans that are on short-term deals, and then you have your veterans that are older. Connor Joe, off to a great start. Similar though. Only a year and change of experience, and he's already 30. So it's like you have these guys that you don't need to spend money on, and you could just kind of fill your gaps with these veterans that are oddly still under control, and they're finally reaching their potential. You really don't have to mess around too much. Rodolfo Castro is a possibility. He's 23. I'm totally gonna butcher this first name, but Jiwan Bay.
Yeah,
Jiwan. Am I saying that pronouncing that correctly?
I think so.
He's 23, so like you have a couple names, but they're not going to get these big extensions. You know what I mean? So realistically, you have a solid 6 or 7 reliable guys that you can build hype around. You can start selling jerseys for that are really going to cost you less than $60 million in yearly contracts, which is pretty solid. And the rest of your guys fill in the gaps, right? And just 1-year deals like Rich Hill, like Carlos Santana, McCutchen, Hedges, G-Man Choi when he's healthy, Vince Velasquez. You got guys that are performing for you that are real cheap. Pirates are on the right track. I don't think people understand that. Like it's slowly coming together. This was a big step for Bryan Reynolds. Big step for the Pirates.
Quick note here before we move on to talking White Sox. Just wanted to again show some love to Drew Maggi. Got his first big league AB last night. I think I saw he struck out, but
the pitch clock violation, by the way.
That's what I was gonna ask you about, dude. If it pleases the crown, I just want to make a note here about the pitch clock, and we'll keep it brief and we'll move on. But I'm at a loss for words because I understand that like rules are rules, and also it's not even. It was after the first pitch of the at bat, like he's already down 0-1, so like I'm kind of weirded out by that, but I don't know. So I can't exactly be like just wave the pitch clock for every major league debut at bat.
No, I agree. But here's the thing. This is on the umpires. This isn't Major League Baseball. This is on the umpires. I read an article or a tweet or something that was saying umpires know these scenarios. We saw Cody Bellinger a couple weeks ago get that violation. It's under the discretion of the home plate umpire or the crew chief. Read the room. Read the room. This is a cool moment for baseball, and you're robbing it. Typical. You do that throughout the game every week.
Every day.
Give this a second to breathe. Let it play out a little bit. It's not that hard. Just pay attention. Have some awareness. Someone's passing you a note letting you know this could happen. Then you find out before the game. Just remember. Sorry it took an extra 90 seconds to get an applause.
0% chance that a guy like Drew Maggi is thinking about a pitch clock in the box for his first big league AB. Zero chance.
You guys barely holding on to the bat at this point.
No chance he's thinking of a pitch clock, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm not going to get upset about it.
Back
I'm
to
not
back
going to cry
weeks
about
of
it.
Pirates talk.
I'm not going to cry about it. I did enough of that in the car on the way home.
There you go.
Michael Scott. White Sox. What is going on in the South Side?
Move.
Being
Get out
the
of
big,
Chicago. You're
being the
done.
big Cub honk that you are. This recent revelation. How do you feel about this? How does this affect your Cub fanhood, the way you view the White Sox, especially their future? What are your thoughts on this?
Just move. Just get out. You're done.
You're not gonna.
Stadium
move.
sucks. Your fans.
Okay,
Where are you? Where are the fans?
I
Have there
don't
ever
want to
been White Sox fans?
Yes, I don't want to overreact here, but can we stop pretending like the White Sox are some monstrosity of a team? Like, yes, they're off to a very bad start. They've had their ups and their downs, but like there are teams that are far more deserving of the scrutiny on a year-to-year basis than what the White Sox are getting right now. I do think it's a little hot take-ish to be like going in on the White Sox as hard as some outlets are right now, because you look at that roster and it's like they've got dudes, and you know that if they're clicking, even if like 75% of that lineup's clicking, like you're in a much better place than you are right now.
How long are we going to say this? How long?
As long as the division's what it is. Like that, it's just the reality of it. Like we have the ability to continue to give them the benefit of the doubt to say, well, just give them a little more time to get clicking on all cylinders because the division's that bad. If the dynamic of the division or the division changes, like if we see a realignment in the near future, then the conversation's different. But as long as the landscape of the American League Central stays what it is, we can continue to let this happen. That's just how it is.
Currently,
With that said, though,
currently third to last in OPS.
With that
seventh to last in average. 8th to last in home runs. You know what I mean? Like I'm just looking at offensive stuff right now. And it's all absolutely bottom third with some bad teams.
yeah, I said all that about the division to then turn around and say this. And we're not the first ones to say this, and we won't be the last ones to say this. But given how bad the American League Central is, you don't have to do much. We've seen it. All the hate that Tony La Russa got when he was at the helm and he wins the division. That goes to show you right there. You can be in a situation where they're calling for the manager to be fired.
Yeah.
To be essentially excommunicated from baseball.
Yeah.
Just because of how bad of a manager you think he is. And you win the division. What more needs to be said? If you're the White Sox, I can understand why the fans get frustrated because it's like, this is the barrier to win the Central is so low. Just give us a couple more guys. Like, give us a couple more dudes that we can supplement this lineup with. And they're just not doing it. And the dudes that you do have are hurt or missing extended time for this reason or for that. Underperforming. I can understand, again, why the frustration sets in. But at the end of the day, the division is what it is. So if this is the reality, if this is what you're moving with, or if this is what you're going with moving forward, you're just going to have to figure out a way to make it work because that's what it seems that's what seems to be the case every year in the Central, whether it's the White Sox or the Guardians or the Twins even. I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, they're currently in the middle of a 7-game losing streak. They haven't scored in their last 24 innings entering Thursday. And on Wednesday, to wrap up the sweep, White Sox hitters struck out 10 in their final 11 at bats.
Yeah.
And they
now
struck out
17 times in that game.
They're now 7-18. So if you're listening to this, you're probably going, well, what is it, Kyle? Pick a side. Like, do you think they're trash or do you think they still stand a chance? Both can be true.
Trash.
No, both can be true. The White Sox can be trash right now, and the White Sox still could be American League Central champs by the end of the season. That's the reality of it. I don't know what else to tell you. And there's really not much more deciphering that needs to go on beyond that, if I'm being honest with you.
It's just bad. It's just bad. I don't know how else to say it. It's just bad. Weird moves, weird decisions. Goes back to the Kimbrel trade. Weird stuff that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You knew your lineup was an issue, and you don't re-sign Jose Abreu.
Was Madrigal was in the Kimbrel trade, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was just a 1-for-1, I think. Just odd moves, man. Now Madrigal is playing up north and getting knocks. Knocks that your lineup isn't giving you. To go get a closer when you already had a closer. Dumb moves. There's no other way to explain it. But you have to have guys that start performing. You're right. Eloy Jimenez needs to stay healthy. It needs to be what he is. Same with Luis Robert. TA, put your money where your mouth is, dude. You're always talking. You're always talking. Put your money where your mouth is. Show up every day. I don't get it, man. Dylan Cease is going to win a Cy Young. I don't know if it's going to be in that uniform, but he's going to win one. I don't know. I don't even know. Elvis Andrus is playing shortstop for them every day. That's all I gotta say.
Can I
he didn't even cut it for the A's. So, like, what do we...
Can I put a disclaimer in about Cease, because I may or may not be interested in him in fantasy, and so I'm just going to go ahead and clarify and say that it won't be in that uniform, and it especially won't be this year.
There you go.
Just want to clear the air there, because I've going off on a little tangent here. I've found that everything that we say on this podcast is used for or against conversations when it comes to trade talks in our fantasy league. And I hate that, because now I can't give you my full 100% honest take on somebody, because it's like, well, if I want that guy in July, then I'm going to be sent a sound clip from episode 351 about Dylan Cease.
The boys keep track.
I hate it. No, I love it, but I hate it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Burn it down. Move.
No, okay. This is the...
I probably shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say burn it down about anything in Chicago. Just get out.
Yikes.
Just get out of the city. Gotta go.
Yeah,
Nashville, Charlotte, Portland. I don't care. Just get out.
So...
Sell the team.
We go.
Start over.
The White Sox go from winning the division, 21?
Sure.
To 2 years later, not even 2 full years later, to Nate. I won't even point the finger at you. Other people, I'm sure, saying to relocate the team.
Yeah.
To burn it down.
100%.
Like, that's just wild to me.
2021 was a fluke. Would you say, I mean, because you have an honest opinion here, who won the Chris Sale trade? I would say the Red Sox won, yeah?
I'm a huge believer in, if it equates to rings,
Then
there's
won.
your answer.
Yeah, okay.
Just
Just wanted
in
to
this
double
scenario,
check.
I should say ring, but rings. It's all
You
the
just
same.
have guys that just, they're not, I don't get it. I don't understand. I think there's a lack of leadership. There's not a strong voice in that clubhouse. There's not somebody that's really just saying we need to show up and do our job every day and get better every day. You got guys that just, I don't know. It seems like they just coast. That's what the White Sox feel like. They just coast.
Speaking of coasting, the Padres are kind of just floating along. Tatis, as we mentioned, as you all very well know at this point, is back. I think he's like he's got 5 games under his belt now. One of which featured, I think it was just the other night, a little clip. We don't have to talk about it too long, but a little clip of him dancing in the outfield to some
Wrigley,
fan taunting. Yeah, your favorite park, Wrigley.
Yeah.
Your hometown team.
Yeah. Bleacher fans locked in. That's what gets me. I like when bleacher fans are locked in.
What do we think there? That just seemed, I wasn't a big fan of that.
Tatis?
Yeah.
Oh man, I think it's this weird thing. Like, you wish you could say, hey, just like stay under the radar, like stay under the radar. Like you don't need to antagonize anybody. Like, you did wrong, you served your time, just come back and do your thing. But at the same time, you're like, it's Tatis. That guy only knows how to be loud. You know what I mean? He only knows how to be loud. That's how he plays. That's who he is. That's his personality. I think he has to be him. I think at this point, go full villain mode. Be Deion Sanders. You know what I mean? Make the guys on your team love you and everyone else hate you.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. I was listening to friend of the pod, Dallas Braden, talk about this on their podcast either yesterday or today, and he brought up a good point that I just don't think and I probably have to agree with him. I don't think Fernando Tatis is built for that kind of player, for that kind of
villain.
Role. I just don't see it. Because I just got done saying only but a few episodes ago where I genuinely thought, and I still think, I give it time, I think Fernando Tatis is going to recapture the hearts of a lot of baseball fans. But I don't think, I qualified that by saying, maybe that episode, a couple episodes prior to, that I really hoped that, like you said, out of the gate, I just hope he would have stayed under the radar a little bit, kind of like Bregman did following the scandal. You kind of come out, you take your lumps, you don't say too much, you don't say anything to raise up any alarms or raise up any flags. You just go out there, you take what's handed to you as a result of, or as a consequence of what you did, and then you kind of grow into a little bit. But to your point, that's just not Tatis.
It's not anybody on the Padres.
No, but on the flip side, it's like, it's just frustrating to see him so early into his return.
Yeah, it's 1 week. Yeah.
And
no remorse.
It'd be different if he was playing well. He's not. He's not off to the hottest start, especially after the tear he had at AAA.
Yeah.
It's just not a great look, but I mean,
it's tough, man. You got a clubhouse that's full of, I'm me. I'm unapologetically me. You know what I'm saying? Soto, Machado, Musgrove. I'm me. You don't like me? That's your problem. But I'm me. I'm going to continue to be me. I'm going to do me. So it's hard, man. It's like hard to imagine Tatis being anything else. I understand I wish there was remorse attached to it. But maybe it is a little bit of a downplay, right? It's not like there wasn't like an ongoing taunting thing. I don't think it was. I don't know if there's any other videos of any other games that he's been at so far. I don't know if anybody's. I'm sure there's the occasional chirping. I think this was the first time we've seen like a collective group of fans chanting about him, directed to him. I think it will continue, but maybe it is just this like play it off kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what's like the cliche when you want somebody to stop making a point about you or to stop giving you a hard time or making fun of this or that, what's the best thing to do? You embrace it, you play into it, and then it loses the intended effect.
You heard it in the chants. Half of them started laughing.
Yeah, I mean, so in that particular instance, maybe it makes it go away for the time being, for the remainder of the game. I don't know. I wasn't there. But like you just said, it's going to continue. Like, sure, this video made its rounds, but like he's still going to get it
keep coming
from every other city that he goes to. So I don't know. I think that team really needs a spark, and I was really hoping for their sake that it would be Tatis right out of the gate. Clearly hasn't been the case yet. I mean, sure, he's got a home run, but like they need some juice, and they need to do it quick. Which serves as a perfect transition. Some notable performances from late, good or bad. As I mentioned, this is something I'm hoping to do on our Thursday episodes, moving throughout the year. Just use our Thursday episode as a chance to kind of bring you up to speed on some storylines or some performances that have been worth noting that maybe we haven't gotten to. But like I said, let's transition to this Juan Soto situation. They need a spark. It's not coming from Tatis yet. It's certainly not coming from Juan Soto, although he continues to find ways to work walks. It's not coming. The spark is not coming from him from a power point of view. He's hitting 170, or contact for that matter. He's hitting 178. He's got 4 home runs, 9 ribbies, but he's got an OPS right now of 684 and OPS plus of 96. I got a note here. Nick Lee 51 on Twitter put out Juan Soto's, he had to make an edit. Juan Soto's last 76 games with the Washington Nationals, 30 extra base hits, 490 slug, 899 OPS. His first 76 games with the Padres, 22 extra base hits, a 388 slug, and a 770 OPS. He has not been remotely close to the guy that the Padres paid for with the King's ransom and prospects, and it's not, quote, early for that. And I kind of have to agree, because the whole thing last year with Soto is like, well, he's been with Washington. He needs some time to settle in. It's kind of like what happened with Hader. Like, I don't know what it is about the Padres where it's like some of these, maybe with the exception of Xander Bogaerts, who's just tearing the cover off the ball. For some reason, guys need like a little bit of extra time to settle in with the Padres. But we're getting to the point with Juan Soto now where this is now his second
You're
year.
Good. Yeah.
He's been there. He was there last year. He's here this year. To where, like, come on, dude. Like, we're going to need to figure it out. And I'm not giving up on Juan Soto yet. I tweeted out yesterday, I believe in Juan Soto. But, like, something's got to change here. Like, this getting on base via the walk once every 4 ABs isn't going to cut it.
It's April 27th. That's all I'm thinking. You know what I mean? Like, he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to be fine. Just get April done with. You know what I mean? There's probably something psychological to just flip the calendar, start a new day. Was it Monday's the first for May? So, like, yeah, just you start over and don't be obsessed with the numbers. And I think that's it's tough, man. It's tough. Like, I'm just wondering who that role is with the Padres. Has Xander been around long enough to be that guy? Say, hey, just don't. You're fine. This is you. This is how baseball goes sometimes. I don't know if anyone's having that conversation with them. I'm not stressed. I think he's fine. I would be a little stressed if I'm in the Padres front office, though, because you're right. Gave up a lot, and the production needs to happen pretty much immediately. You gave up everything to make things happen this year.
I like that point you bring up, though. May 1st being a Monday. There's something kind of relieving
something fresh
about that. You know,
brand new week, brand new calendar, like, or brand new month. Like, yeah.
I like that. All right. I'm on board with the May.
Starts Monday.
The Juan Soto starts with May.
How often do we do that with, like, diets? You know what I'm saying? We're just like, I'm going to eat like trash this weekend, but starting Monday, I'm going to pick it up. You know what I mean? Starting Monday, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to get back in the gym. I'm going to kick it up a notch. Who's to say it's not any different as a Major League Baseball player? I'm like, yeah, starting Monday, I'm going to kick it into gear. I'm going to switch something up. I don't know if he is a superstitious kind of guy. I don't know if he's a routine-based kind of guy, but flip something over and start something new.
Dude, they literally start Monday the 1st, a series with the Reds. Like, let's go. Juan Soto,
Wind up.
May is your month,
Mm-hmm.
my guy. Mm-hmm. Like, this is, let's go. Let's
I don't have the breakdowns, but I'm curious to see what he is in April. And I think we got to remind ourselves, how old is he? 27?
He's like 17.
Yeah, I know, right? 26 maybe?
24.
Good
25,
Lord.
25.
Please, guys, just relax. Relax. Juan Soto is still going to be Juan Soto, but the fact that he hasn't even peaked yet is insane. He's 24. Oh my gosh, I'm old. Yeah, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. If it's in a Padres uniform or not, I don't know.
Bro, buckle up for Juan Soto. I'm looking at these splits right now. April and March, between the months of March and April, he's hitting 235 career. OPS of 802.
Which is right on par with what he's doing right now, right?
The month, once the calendar flips to May, his average jumps from 235 to 289, and his OPS jumps from 802 to 888. It's time to lock in if you're Juan Soto. Like,
anybody been to
up.
San Diego? Still a little chilly right now. Got that cold ocean breeze. Still April, boys. Let's just relax.
Let's
get some warm weather, get some heat. That guy's going to go. Yeah, we're A-okay.
I feel better now. I feel better. I believe in Juan Soto. What else we got here? Some notable performances. Kind of working backwards now. Mauricio Dubon, 20-game hitting streak. How about it?
It's do the Astros just do this every year? Just have somebody that just pops up
just
every single year?
Perennial hit streak candidate.
It's insane.
I love it. 20 games. I wonder how far he can make it. Speaking of hit streaks, Jordan Walker, who started the year with a hit streak of his own, got sent down. Option to AAA Memphis on Wednesday. He was 7 for 35 in his last 10 games. Started the year with a 12-game hitting streak. Was hitting 353 through April 10th. But his average dropped to 274. Oh no. How
Who
dare
cares?
he? Come on.
Did
man.
you hear Ollie Marmol's comments? Did you hear the reasoning?
To get other outfielders some opportunities?
No.
Well, I think that was
hitting
said.
too many ground balls. He literally quoted saying he's been hitting too many ground balls. We feel like if he can go figure it out and get the ball in the air, a lot of extra base hits and home runs are coming his way.
How things have changed.
Who cares? Why even break camp with him? I think I'm slowly working my way back off the Cardinals. I really am.
No.
I really am.
So here's the thing.
What is going on? What is Ollie? I feel like Ollie Marmol is overwhelmed right now, and he does not know how to answer some of these questions.
Again,
you saw how he handled the Tyler O'Neill stuff.
Yeah, wasn't terribly on board with that. But I think another situation here of just underperformance over across the board. The thing with Jordan Walker, though, which I can appreciate, is I don't know if it was Marmol, if it was somebody in the front office, but they said that, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of, we feel we have a superstar on our hands here, and we don't want to, basically saying like, we don't want to mess that up. And I'm like, I can appreciate that, because as much as we got on the Mariners for handling Kelenic the way that they did, they're looking pretty good right now for maybe giving him some more. I mean, to be fair, Kelenic kind of he hit his way into that situation.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a choice really had to be made. He made his choice for himself. Yeah. But with this one, maybe they're just trying to get out a little in front of it before it gets even worse, because he struck out 20 times. So you don't, and we talked about this with Kelenic. You don't want to take a guy who's young, who doesn't have hardly any experience at the big league level, and let him spiral so far before you make a change to where he's in a situation where he's too far gone.
I feel differently if this was May 27th, not April 27th. This is too
But that's what I'm saying.
soon.
Maybe I agree, but playing devil's advocate here, maybe they're trying to get out in front of it a little bit. Maybe they want him to come back and be a spark again that can help get this team back on track, if they're not back on track by the time he comes back.
I hate it. I genuinely hate it.
You know what I hate?
Too much salt on a pretzel.
No, I'm all right with salt on a pretzel. That's not it, though.
Pepsi?
Yes.
Why do they even still make...
There's a reason.
Pepsi?
There's a reason that they don't ask, is Coke okay? Like, that's not a thing. And there's a reason.
True.
That's
fact.
That's just how it is. And if that upsets
Pepsi
you,
okay?
I'm sorry.
Actually, no, it's not.
No,
it's really not.
Because it's better than whatever you'd be bringing me out. No, that's not what I'm currently alluding to at this moment in time.
You hate not saving money on seats.
Yes, but now's not the time for that. You know why? Because of how fed up I am with the Boston Red Sox pitching.
Ooh. Curious.
You want to talk about noteworthy performances? Well, this is certainly noteworthy. The Boston Red Sox have the 27th worst team ERA in baseball with a mark of 5.13. Their starter ERA ranks 29th in all of baseball. Sale is cooked. Kluber is cooked. James Paxton isn't going to be your savior. The most, I've said it before, I'll say it again, the most predictable outcome. And we can talk about, well, it's early. It's not even May yet. No, this is where we're at. If they win more games, again, I'm not jumping off of the ship here, but stop trying to get me to have this positive outlook about this team. Yeah, sure, we can hope for the best as Red Sox fans, but stop trying to pull the wool over my eyes and convince me that this is anything less than a lackluster product, because that's all it is. If they get lucky, they find their way into a wild card spot somehow, that's great. But stop trying to convince me Chris Sale is back when he has one good start every dozen. Don't tell me that Corey Kluber stop. They did it on the broadcast. Because the Orioles are local, I can only watch on the Masson app.
Okay.
And so because I'm blacked out otherwise. Mm-hmm. And they did that thing that you and I both hate, where the guy is well past his award-winning accolades or dare I say, deserving of being referred to.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, the multi-Cy Young winner, Corey Kluber, makes his return to Camden. I'm like, stop with that.
Yeah, when Yankee announcers try to build up Josh Donaldson, I'm like, that's not the same man.
Yeah, stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to get that out. Let's talk about some good pitching here.
Rant.
Well, it's noteworthy performances, and it's definitely worth noting. Let's talk about some good pitching. For the sake of time, we'll move quickly here. Sonny Gray leads all of baseball with an ERA of .62. Nate, your thoughts on that real quick, because you got to live through the Sonny Gray experience. What do you think it is about this particular season, who he's with, who he's pitching for? Do you think that there's anything that could be a primary contributor to this?
He's good when there's no expectations. Sorry. You could argue Joey Gallo's in that same spot. And I mean, there's probably some bias there as a Yankees fan, but like when you get put in the spotlight and you get an opportunity to compete and provide at the highest level, and like the expectations are coming with it, like pressure builds diamonds. You don't like pressure, you're not a diamond. Enjoy Minnesota.
Oof. Zac Gallen. I know it's early.
Dude's a freak.
I know it's early, and I said, you know what? It might be interesting for episode 351. We just do like a quick little segment on possible NL Cy Young race, and you immediately followed up with, what are we, like 5 starts in? But dude, you're not going out on a limb here by saying that come September, Zac Gallen and Spencer Strider could be the two.
Goodness.
Likely are going to be the two dudes that we're having this conversation with, barring any freak injuries or anything, or just complete downward spirals. Zac Gallen and Spencer Strider. Zac Gallen has now notched 28 consecutive scoreless innings and leads all of baseball with 51 strikeouts. Spencer Strider on Tuesday threw 7 1/3 no-hit innings with 13 punch-outs. Spencer Strider has also struck out at least 9 batters in each of his last 9 starts dating to last season. That run is the longest active streak in baseball of at least 9 strikeouts and surpasses John Smoltz's franchise record of such starts set in 1997. Spencer Strider's past 15 starts, the team has a record of 13-2. He has 137 strikeouts, a FIP of 1.6, ERA of 2.06, and a K percentage of 40.1.
He's also got tree trunks for quads.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say Zac Gallen, Spencer Strider, very early. Very early.
Yeah, but
NL
like
Cy
that,
Young
I don't.
race.
Does that fade? You know what I'm saying? Like, do guys like that fade? I feel like they're entering
was
in
my
their
point.
prime. I get it. I understand. I thought you were like wanting to run down the list of like 10 people or whatever.
Oh, no.
These two for sure. Yeah. I like it. We've been high on the Diamondbacks since the beginning of the year and since spring training. And
Safe to say we've been saying it since March.
yeah.
My Cy Young pick's looking pretty good right about now, although Spencer
agree.
Strider's giving me a run for my money here. But
That's okay though. That's okay. Gonna be A-okay. I saw something the other day that Spencer Strider has like already has 3 or 4 13 plus strikeout games. And I think it was either, I think it might have been Smoltz for franchise history has 5. That's crazy.
insane.
He's already
That
there.
is crazy.
He's already going to be there. He might do that this year. Dude's a stud for
That's
sure.
insane, dude. Yeah, I mean, nothing against Zac Gallen, but if Spencer Strider continues to do things that have John Smoltz's name attached to it
Yeah.
throughout the year,
Yeah.
you know how the media works, dude. They take those kinds of things and run with it, and maybe it's a little unfair to Zac Gallen, but if you just keep hearing Spencer Strider, John Smoltz, Spencer Strider, John Smoltz throughout the course of 162, you're going to go, oh,
Yeah.
well, the guy's Cy Young. And
He's creeping up on like franchise record numbers. And it's,
the guy's a freak.
yeah. By the way, that's not single season.
No, I know.
That's what career. Like,
right.
That's crazy.
Guy's a freak.
Yeah.
So, and I say
Mustache game is unmatched also.
Yeah. I say all that not as a knock to Strider, like, oh, like they're just going to take a narrative. Clearly very deserving. The numbers are there.
Yeah.
But if he can,
Did you see Chipper's comments during the start the other day?
He's
I
like,
think
I
I
hit
hit
like
200.
200.
This guy's a freak.
No, I don't know if I believe that, but I appreciate. I'm
Chipper's
sure
just modest.
Strider
That guy's the man.
appreciates it. One other guy I wanted to give some love to real quick, because hand up, I don't even know if we've mentioned this guy's name once on this podcast this year. Can we just give a little love to James Outman real quick?
I haven't talked about him yet. Whoa. Doing his
Like, you want to talk
thing.
about a freak, dude. This guy has showed up and shown out. He's hitting 301, 7 bombs. I think he has like 1 or 2 grand slams already. 19 ribbies, OPS of 1.058 entering Thursday.
Dodgers do this all the time too. I always get some random prospect you never heard of that just does his thing right away.
It makes you wonder, though, like when going back to the offseason, when people are freaking out, ourselves included, about the lack of progress, the lack of perceived progress that the Dodgers made this offseason. It really makes you wonder, with their analytical department, with their front office, if they look at a guy like James Outman and they're like,
just wait.
just hold on.
Yeah.
Not to say that they're expecting him to be some sort of
Right.
clubhouse leader or savior by any stretch, because they still got some names not line up for sure. But it makes you wonder when you're going, well, they need a little depth here. They need a guy to plug this hole there.
Mm-hmm.
If they look at a guy like James Outman and go, just sit tight.
Yeah.
We know what we have in this guy.
Yeah.
And credit to James Outman, dude. He's been
It's nuts.
giving him
I didn't
every
even-
reason to believe in him.
Never heard of him before this year. I don't even know where he ranked on the prospect list, but good for him.
Love it. Just want to give some love. I felt bad. It had been a number of episodes into the season. We have yet, I think, to mention his name. So want to show some love. I think those are the guys I wanted to run through. I'm sure I've maybe missed a couple, but yeah, hit us up in the messages too. Like if you're a fan of a particular team and there's like a dude or a storyline that you don't feel like is getting enough love, definitely run that by us. Cause I mean, we're only human. We can only catch so much throughout the week, throughout the season. So
yeah,
we'll definitely love to recruit you all to help us out in that regard. But before we get out of here, let's run through our weekend series real quick. I
got something for you.
What do you got?
Before we get into that, we talked about this. We're bringing it back,
yeah.
baby.
We're bringing it back. I forgot.
Let's go.
What do you got?
It's been a hot minute. I don't think we did it all last year.
I don't think we've done this since
probably 2 years.
What,
so the OGs will remember.
2019.
We are bringing back what they're not talking about.
What was my transition? I would say. So that's what I think I said something. I had like a little line where it was like, so that's what we talked about. I'm going to flip it to Nate for what they're not talking about.
There you go.
There we go. Something like that.
Maybe you need to upgrade that a little bit.
Brush it. Well,
couple years.
We were a bunch of chumps. I mean, we're still a couple chumps, but like we didn't know what we were
definitely
doing.
Still a chump.
You got to say my transition game has been upgraded.
Say plus for sure.
Exponentially. Thank you.
What they're not talking about. I decided to dive deep into stolen bases because we talked about how, hey, like we need to get deep enough into the season to see what these numbers will be, see how big the uptake is, right? So a lot of this information goes to credit to Dane Perriott over at CBS. But as of right now, this is up until I think either yesterday or the day before, current numbers. Teams are currently averaging 0.68 stolen bases per game. That's the highest. If it stays through, it's going to be the highest since 1999. 78.8% success rate at the moment. The current record is 75.7%. That was done in 2021. This is crazy. Stealing third base has a 93% success rate. The record was in 2012, 80.9%. Demolishing that. Corbin Carroll, Anthony Volpe are both on pace to break 50. Either one of them would be the first rookie to do so since Billy Hamilton in 2014. First time multiple rookies, if they can both do it, would do it in the same year since 1992. And to be fair, it's only happened twice since 1900, where you have multiple rookies breaking 50 stolen bases. And then my last note I have in here is that Ronald Acuna is on pace for 84 stolen bases this year. We haven't seen anyone break 80 since Ricky Henderson in 1988 with 93.
That's insane, dude. 93, come on.
We're basically a month in. Stolen bases are back. That's what they're not talking about. Kinda.
That's not a hot take at all. I think it's clear watching the lack of success that catchers are having with throwing guys out. It's just not even fair at this point. No. It's just a free invitation to take an extra bag extra 2 bags if you really want to, if you got the right guy for it. It's insane.
Pretty much.
So you said we're looking at 88%? Or no.
Success rate?
No, you said 93% success rate, but you said Acuna is
93% success rate was just stealing third. Overall, right now, with all of stolen bases, is 78.8%, which would be the record.
And then you said Acuna has what?
On pace for 84.
84. Something to keep an eye on.
Also, I think I didn't write it down, but I think it was something of 16 players on pace to break 50. Yeah.
That's
pretty wild.
We're going to be on 40-40 watch.
Yeah.
A little bit more in seasons to come. Safe to say. Speaking of watching, weekend series to watch.
that was a C-. I
mean, what are you talking about? My note literally says weekend series to watch. I said watch. Speaking of things to watch.
Yeah.
Phillies and Astros. Game 1, you got Aaron Nola, Nate's fantasy ace.
Please do something.
Aaron Nola versus Framber Valdez, Apple TV. It'll be on Apple TV. Game 2, you got Zach Wheeler versus Christian Javier. And game 3, I'm starting to notice a trend here. And it's not that I know it ahead of time. It's just coincidence. Partially because I try to pick like good matchups. But game 3, also Sunday Night Baseball. It seems to be a trend for me. You got Bailey Falter going up against Jose Urquidy. So some good arms going this series. Keep an eye
That is going to be a good series. I got the Braves finally getting their first matchup against the Mets this year. 4-game set starting on Friday. You got Max Fried going against David Peterson. Saturday, Tree Trunk for legs, Spencer Strider going against Tyler McGill. Sunday, Charlie Morton against Jose Butto. Doesn't matter. And then Bryce Elder going on Monday against Kodai Senga. I have a feeling this Butto guy might get bounced. I think Verlander's coming back sometime this weekend too. Just didn't get an exact date on it. So we shall see. Maybe even Friday, honestly. That'd be cool. Either way, though, I gotta love the division matchups. Gotta love when the division is, you know, it's going to come down to the wire. Every single one of these matchups matter, especially the 4-game sets. So, yeah, tune in. Even though 95% of our listeners are all Braves fans, apparently. They're going to be watching anyway.
They'll be watching. Closing the book here, super quick. Robbie Ray out for the year. I think there's a couple other guys that have recently been hit with something like that, but
Jeff Springs too was the other one. I don't think we mentioned him, did we?
We may have mentioned him, but it wasn't. Yeah. I don't think we got the verdict. But yeah, Jeffrey Springs
done for the year.
There's another one. I thought maybe Robbie Ray was the other one. Yeah. Out for the year. Will have surgery to repair the flexor tendon in his pitching elbow. Will miss the remainder of the 2023 season. Did you see that Wander Franco catch, by the way?
I did.
How would you rate it?
Out of 10?
Yeah.
9.3. 9.3.
Very impressive.
I have no idea who the name is, but that left fielder back in like the late 90s, early 2000s that did the same thing, but did it in the corner up against the wall kind of thing, where there was no like reach with the glove hand. It was just straight bare hand.
It wasn't some Joe Schmo. I should know this. I'm pretty sure it was like a guy.
It's like Kirby Puckett or something like that. They just did it. I don't even know.
Hold on. I need to look this up. Oh, how do I not know this?
I think he was a Twin, though, wasn't he? Am I wrong there?
Oh, it was Kevin Mitchell with the Giants. That's a throwback.
Yeah, that is a throwback name. What year was that?
89.
Oh, wow.
Throwing it back. We're old.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that, it's just a little bit different. I think that's the catch it gets compared to. That and the David Wright one.
Yeah.
I think the David Wright one still beats it, though. Just there's a lot of foul territory, and I don't know.
Yeah, like you look at the routes taken. Yeah, not to mention it all, but it's definitely an interesting conversation to have.
Yeah.
Alex Cora. I know you and I got into a little bit over the last couple of days. So, and I'm not even going to spend any time on this because it doesn't warrant talking about it, but people were making a big deal that Alex Cora was apparently like accusing the Orioles of stealing signs. And then Brandon Hyde comes out and is like, I'm not sure what he's getting at. I'm pretty disappointed in hearing that. I thought it was disrespectful to our hitters. I thought we had a great game plan. I thought we had major league hitters take really good at bats. Brandon Hyde, do you really think, and I said this to you, do you really think Alex Cora, first of all, I'm of the belief that his self-awareness is off the charts, and people will say, well, if that was the case, you wouldn't have cheated. look at how he handled the situation after everything went down, after he got handed a suspension. Just look at that a little deeper. He's not going to come out and say, well, do you think they're stealing signs? No, he thinks Chris Sale sucks. He thinks Chris Sale is cooked, just like everybody else in Red Sox Nation, except he doesn't have a way to really voice that by coming out. He can't just come out and say, yeah, I think Chris Sale is cooked. He's going to look at it and go, yeah, like, I don't know, man. Like, we're going to have to look and figure something out. He just didn't have it tonight. And then Orioles fans are going, oh, stealing signs? Like, shut up. Come on. Be better. Be better. Was it a slow news day that day? Come on.
Probably.
He just thinks he's cooked. That's all. What are you looking up? Are you looking up a quote?
I was just trying to see what the exact quote was. I never heard like the exact quote. That's all. Do you have it?
You're talking about when he followed up with his...
No, the first one, like the initial one.
Oh, I said I wasn't going to give this any time, and here I am looking it up. Like, no, he just thinks Chris Sale is trash. Where was it?
I don't know. Whatever. I don't really care. I was just trying to stir the pot. It is what it is. I don't know. I think it's tough because like I think everyone's so sensitive about when any of those comments are made, it's almost accusatory. And I think it's like no matter what, that's how everyone's going to take it right now, just in the era that we're in.
Sure, especially with a guy like Cora, you double down on it. Yeah. But it's possible that Cora thought that he just felt he was tipping pitches, and he said, again, paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of like, there's something like we need to take a look and see what we can find, or something like that. Like, he's not talking about the Orioles. He's just talking about the fact that Sale was garbage that night, gave up a hit to every single hitter in the lineup, and didn't record a strikeout.
Tough.
Like, maybe it's because he's cooked. Okay? That's the last thing I'm going to say. And the very final note here before we get out of here, rest in peace to Dick Groat. I know that name may not mean a lot to very many people, but if you're a Pirates fan, if you're like an old-timey baseball fan, or just a fan of people that served in the military and also played sports, because I know you and I are, Dick Groat served in the Army. He was also in the NBA as well.
Crazy.
Won a batting title, was a 5-time All-Star. And then note that I always bring up to people, because I actually had the pleasure of meeting this guy on separate occasions, because he worked with Pittsburgh basketball. And so when I was working with Duke Athletics, it was brought to my attention, like, oh yeah, Dick Groat will be coming to town. Like, you should go definitely like introduce yourself. So the 2 times that he came into town, I went over and shook his hand and thanked him for his service, and just got to hear a little bit of his story or whatever. But the note that I always bring up to people is that he won the 1960 National League MVP. And that some of the names, not all of the names, that he beat out that year: Willie Mays, Ernie Banks, Roberto Clemente, Hank Aaron, and Stan Musial.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
And I think I read that he was like the first player which I should know this, but I'm pretty sure he was the first player in Duke basketball history to have his number hung in the rafters. So multi-sport athlete, multi-sport star.
Yeah.
Was in the Army, and he was one of the nicest guys that you could ever meet. Like, just super down to earth. Stood there and talked to me for I don't know how long. But he passed away. So rest in peace to him. And tough break for Pirates fans and their organization, especially with everything they've got going on right now. That's definitely some tough news. But just a good dude, and hate to see an organization, a city, lose a guy like that.
It's true. Luckily he played a game that I think keeps better record and recognizes history better than any other sport. And I'll die on that hill any day. So I think the Pirates are going to do something cool, and I think Major League Baseball, they always do something pretty awesome, All-Star break or end of the year with just recognizing some of the legends that have passed. But yeah, I think it's just, when we're that age, we're going to be talking about players that we watched, and hopefully the game just kind of continues to be that way. So, if you don't know much about them, look it up and familiarize yourself with the history of our game as much as you can. That's a tough name to lose, but it's like you said, I think the Pirates are in the right light right now to get the recognition out there and have some type of ceremony that's gonna hopefully memorialize him and his family in the right way. So
on that note, hope everybody has a great weekend. We will see you guys on Monday as usual. You got anything else before we get out of here?
I don't think so. I can't think of anything. No, all done.
That's all I got.
Surprisingly. Peace out, ladies and gents. Don't go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.